Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar titled Winter Wellness. My name is Angela Gibbons, and I am the director here at Harvest Point Wealth Management. I've been with our team for just over 5 years, and I enjoy getting to know you as clients, as well as planning client connection opportunities like our events. As the colder months come to an end, we've had some great warm weather days this week, and I'm sure some surrounding areas from where you're tuning in from today. It's more important than ever to maintain our health and our movement. Winter brings unique challenges with seasonal fatigue and immune support, so staying active and managing stress is key. So we have some great insight from one of our guest speakers today that's going to go into that. This topic of wellness is dear to my heart. Being a college athlete and an athlete most of my life, I've always been involved with doing workouts and keeping up with nutrition. I'm not sure if many of you know, but in my free time, I am a run lead at Lifetime as well as an ultra fit small group fitness coach. So I enjoy motivating and encouraging members to become their best versions of themselves. So I understand how much movement is key. Our goal today is to provide an office update and also as well as a market update, and Collin Miller will be doing that for us. He's going to do another healthy habits and indoor exercises from Justin Scherff. He's our guest speaker today. And at the end of that, we will have an opportunity for some Q&As. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email those to our info@harvestpointwm.com. We will get those in our queue and ask him at the end of Justin's presentation. We are excited to have you and encourage you to ask questions. So let's get started on a healthier, happier you this season. As many of you know, we do like to partner with charities for each of our events. So the showcase today is going to be Girls on the Run of Central Iowa. They are going to be our highlight that we are going to donate on behalf of your attendance. Their mission is to inspire girls to be joyful, healthy, and confident using a fun experience-based program for them. They have them in our local schools here, so girls age 3rd through 5th grade can partake in this, and they have a 5K that they work hard to train for in the spring as well in the fall. So we're excited to partner with them, and thank you for your attendance so that we can donate to Girls on the Run. Again, please send all your questions to info@harvestpointwm and we will get those to you in the queue for Collin or Justin to answer at the end of the presentations. Okay, I'm going to introduce Collin Miller. He's our Director of Planning, and he's been with our company here at Harvest Point for 6 years. He also is a certified financial planner, and he is going to provide our office and market updates. A fun fact about Collin actually is he is an early riser, and so he likes to get his daily movements and workouts in at 6 a.m. at the gym before work. So good fun fact about him on that. Collin?
Thanks, Angela, and thanks for the nice introduction. Like Angela mentioned, my name is Collin Miller, and I'm a certified financial planner here at Harvest Point, and I also act as the Director of Planning here for Harvest Point. Many of you have gotten the chance to meet me over the last 6 years, going on 7. But if you haven't yet, or if you haven't had the chance to meet me in person, next time you're in the office, or if you're at a client event, feel free to stop by and say hi. As Angela mentioned, the first thing I want to do to kick off today is just to provide a quick couple of updates from our office. So as many of you may already know, and if you haven't yet, Kathy McLaughlin has retired after a long, almost 40-year career in our industry. But you can see her at our events that Angela and Lauren do a great job of planning. If you were able to join us on our tax webinar, Tim McLaughlin provided an update about a new addition to our office. At the beginning of this year, we welcomed Tim Fitzgerald to our office. Tim Fitzgerald is a certified financial planner, along with a slew of other designations that you can see below. Lastly, I wanted to quickly shout out Lauren Wegman, who, though you can't see her, she's on this call and making sure everything's running smoothly in the background. Over the last few months, she has done a great job of getting some refreshment in our office. So if you haven't been by our office in the last couple of months, there's been a couple of changes. Up front, as soon as you walk in, you'll notice a couple of things. Off to the left, where our TV is full of our client experience pictures, we have a new fireplace as well as a great looking mantle there. So if you come into your meeting early and you just want to sit and have a cup of coffee by the fire, you're more than welcome to do so. Throughout the office, you'll see other updates such as new painted walls, some wainscoting behind Angela's desk, as well as new carpet across the office. For those of you who are not familiar with Harvest Point, or if you just would like a quick refresher of why we exist, Harvest Point exists to faithfully guide and equip our clients to wisely steward the wealth that has been entrusted to them. We offer personalized, comprehensive financial planning for faith-driven individuals. We are proud to boast a 98% annual client retention ratio. We have over 72 years of combined experience across our office, and we are proud to be family owned and operated. This next slide here just shows a brief overview of kind of some of the changes with the new additions and departures from our office, but I want to highlight a couple of people. In the bottom left corner, you'll notice a new individual. If you haven't met him yet, his name's Jacob Olson. Jacob Olson's a financial advisor who joined our team midway through last year. And for our clients, if you ever have questions about your account or need to transact in your account and Tim or I are unavailable, feel free to reach out to Jacob as he can help you. Another person I want to highlight was Cameron Jensen. As you may know, or you might already be in the process of, it is tax season. So as you're gathering those documents, if you have questions about if you have all your documents or how you can access your documents online, feel free to reach out to Cameron either via email, or you can give our office a call and ask to speak to him, and he'll be able to help you track down your tax documents. For those of you who are guests on our webinar today, and if you have any interest in potentially becoming a client at Harvest Point or learning more about Harvest Point, feel free to scan the QR code on the left, and that will direct you to our website, where there is a form that we ask potential clients to fill out, just so we can gather a little bit more information about you and determine if we would be a good fit for you, and vice versa. We'll have a conversation if you would be a good fit for us. Once you complete that form, either Angela Gibbons or Jacob Olson will reach out and give you a call or shoot you an email to kind of talk about the next steps of that process. If you've been a client of our firm for years and you would like to, tell others about your experience with Harvest Point, we would encourage you to leave a review. And that is something that changed a few years ago, that our industry now allows us to accept online reviews, and we can post the testimonials on our website as well. It's just a good way for us to demonstrate to other potential clients or potential future employees about the benefits of working for Harvest Point. If you'd like to leave a review, you can scan the QR code on the right, and that will take you to our Google reviews page. If you have a Google account, you can just simply leave your quick review, and those would be much appreciated by your team here. But if you would rather leave those in a more anonymous manner or tell us directly, feel free to reach out to Angela. She's the one that kind of collects and gathers all those reviews for us, and you can leave your review directly with her. Here at Harvest Point, we truly believe that the client is the most important person in our company. We all come to work every day fired up and driven to make sure you receive the best experience as you are a client of Harvest Point. We truly believe that we are blessed and to be working with you and along beside you, and none of us would be coming to the office each day if it wasn't for our amazing clients. As Angela mentioned, I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking about the market because we've had a lot of changes over the last couple of weeks since we had a webinar. For some of you've reached out, you've expressed either some concerns or just wanted to talk about the market in general. And I wanted to provide just a few key talking points about our thoughts on the market today. Before I dive into this graph, I just want to let you all know that on the back end, a lot of things that we do that you might not see and that we don't talk about in the meetings, it revolves around analysis and understanding what's happening in the economy. And each week we try to at least meet with one wholesaler or analyst and get their thoughts about the general health of the economy as well as funds. And on the back end of things, we also do we analyze the investments that you're in, determining if they're the best performing funds and if they're the most reasonably cost funds too. As you all may be aware, the last few days have provided some volatility in the market, spanning back to about last Thursday till this past Wednesday. We've had 3 or 4 consecutive days of down performance on the S&P 500. That's been very rare because every day it seems like we're reaching a new all-time high in the stock market. The volatility is expected though. And as this graph shows here, that historically since 1950 to last year, the last half of February remains volatile, and it truly has lesser returns in the first half of February. So maybe those last couple of days that we've seen some stock market declines, we could maybe expect to see those. And as I mentioned earlier, we are continuously at all-time highs in the market. It seems like every week we talk about the S&P 500 breaking another record or some index outperforming its previous year's results. And those are all good things and should be expected. And as this next chart shows, we might still have some room to run. So what we are in what we call a bull market right now. And what a bull market means is that we've had some good solid growth and outperformance over the last few months. And really, this dates back to October 12th of 2022. That was the last time we were in a bear market. So since then, the S&P has returned over 70% and it's been going on for just over 2 years now. What this chart shows is, although we're cautiously optimistic about the market, there is historical data that presents that we may still have some room to run. So what this chart shows is all of the former bull markets dating back to 1950, and there are 12 of those. On average, those bull markets tend to last 5.5 years. And as you can see, there's some variance of years there. Some last 1.5 years, some last 12 years. It just all kind of depends. But on average, they last about 5.5 years, indicating we still have some room to run. Additionally, during those bull market experiences, on average, there's a 191% return on the S&P 500. Right now, we're at only about 71%. So once again, just another reason to believe we have some room to run. One other thing on this chart, if you don't mind going back real quick, Lauren. In the bottom right corner, you'll see there that 5 of the last 12 bull markets have started in October. I think that's just more fun and maybe a coincidence than anything else, but there might be some merit to bull markets starting in October. The next chart that we're going to look at today, I want to talk about a little bit about asset allocation inside of our clients' accounts. Generally speaking, a well-diversified account will have exposure not only to U.S. markets, but to international markets. And sometimes clients ask, well, if we believe that the U.S. economy is strong and that it's the best economy in the world, why don't we just purely invest in the U.S. economy? Well, if we go back to November 20th of last year till now, that's what this chart here shows. The black line indicates the S&P 500 returns, and the yellow line is an international index called the MSCI World Index, and that excludes any U.S. companies. Since November 20th of last year, the MSCI index has actually outperformed almost by 2% to the S&P 500, which just further proves our validation of needing international exposure at all times, because, even when the U.S. stock market might be bad or there's some volatility, there's other areas in the world or other sectors we can be specific in to generate some outperformance of the S&P 500. Lastly, one graph that our team and one tool our team uses constantly to evaluate the health of the market is a tool from our friends at Franklin Templeton. And this graph is just a brief overview of the U.S. recession risk indicators. So on the left-hand side there, you'll see different indicators of what economists look at to determine the overall health of our economy. I won't get into the specifics or bore you with details on numbers and percentages and figures, but this just kind of gives us a great overview of where we are, generally speaking, in comparison to prior months. So on the left-hand side there, you'll see the column for January 31st of 2025, and then we have December of last year and November of last year as well. And what you can see by just quickly looking at it is it seems to be that our friends at Franklin Templeton think that there is more reason for improved health of the overall stock market over the last couple of months. So the way I quickly look at this is I look down the lines there and see a lot of green arrows in January of this year and a lot more yellow circles and red X's in November. So that to us indicates that the economy is healing and improving slowly over time. They released this monthly. There's a webinar that us as your advisors, we sit in on to kind of help determine what our thoughts are about the economy. Overall, the one thing I want to make sure that all of our clients and prospective clients understand is if you have concerns about the market or your portfolio, the worst thing you can do is not be honest and talk to us about it. Most individuals, when they panic and if they sell, they never buy back in at the same time. And that is the worst, or buy back in at the right time. And that's the worst thing you can do. We don't want you to go through these times of uneasiness without us. That's why we're here. And that's how we help serve our clients. Next off, I wanted to just quickly introduce Justin Scherff, our presenting speaker today, about his movement tips for 2025. Justin has been a physical therapist since 2014 and the co-owner of Core Physical Therapy since 2019. He has worked with thousands of individuals, many of whom have struggled to find answers elsewhere. He understands that pain isn't just a physical cause, it can be influenced by every part of life, from past experiences, injuries, and trauma to daily habits, mindsets, and even nutrition. His goal is to help each patient uncover the root of their pain and regain control of their health. Outside of his work, Justin enjoys his time with his 3 kids and staying active in his church. He loves being outdoors and experiencing new activities and even attending sporting events, traveling, and connecting with other people. Angela will provide, or in our follow-up email, we'll provide Justin's contact information if you want to get a hold of him. But Justin's going to walk us through some healthy tips for this year.
Colin, thanks. Appreciate the intro. As mentioned, my name is Justin. I'm a physical therapist. I work in the Adel office here at Core Physical Therapy, making a transition to our West Des Moines office. We've got 16 or 17 full-time physical therapists who help people, been around for about 25 years now, and slowly, steadily growing, caring for people. There's little babies crying in my office all the way up to 90-year-olds. So if it hurts, generally we can help. So as we get started here today, before we say anything, I have to do this little disclaimer thing, otherwise I'll get in trouble. So in essence, what I'm giving you here today is just general knowledge to help promote wellness, but it doesn't replace one-on-one assessments, evaluations with medical professionals. So please make sure that you do make decisions, appropriate decisions for you. We would be considered a qualified healthcare provider before making these changes. So if you have questions, you have concerns, we are here to help you. So I have people all the time like, I don't want to waste your time, but that's kind of why we're here. So just as a reminder, this is just general knowledge. If you want specifics, we'd be happy to help you out. So as we move forward, the general theme for today comes out of a book written by Jordan B. Peterson called 12 Rules for Life. It's a fascinating read if you've never heard him. I needed a thesaurus to get through half of it. But he talks about treating yourself as if you are somebody that you are responsible for helping. For me, growing up in my own life, I grew up in church, and the message that was just continually harped on is treat others the way you want to be treated, love others, love others, love others. And as I've been going through life, I've been realizing, well, who's taking care of me and who's responsible for that? And the more that I realize, oh man, it's actually my job to do it. Some of this stuff that I've been sharing with you. So this is a journey I've been on in my own life too. And I see a struggle with patients in my office is, oh, I'm so busy with going to church and helping this person, helping this person, and helping my grandkids. And yet they have a hard time getting the stretches in or doing the things that we're recommending that they do. And sometimes it takes a little subtle shift in how you see yourself. And so this little phrase, I hope, is helpful to put that hat on as, oh, I'm somebody that I need to care for, and I need to care for myself just as I do my spouse, or just as I do as my grandkids, or just as I do as my friends group. So it's the same thing as when you go on an airplane and they say, if we're in an emergency, the oxygen drops down, you need to put your mask on first. And so these are things to help you put your mask on so that you can keep helping others. So as we go, that then brings up the next question: what parts of me do I need to take care of? And as you can see here, there's a lot of things that we should do. So the newest research says we should eat eggs, or we shouldn't eat eggs, or we should lift, or we should eat veggies, or we shouldn't eat veggies. And we're just kind of shitting on all of us. And so by the time you're done, we're going to go through every one of these and give a really detailed handout for how you can implement every single one of these in your life. Does that sound good? Sounds pretty overwhelming to me. Or instead, we'll just keep it really simple. So these are the 4 areas that we're going to briefly fly over today. And then we'll have a couple questions or room for questions in the end. So first up, laughter and connection. And I love working with Tim. I love working with his group. So I first met Tim in a Bible study in 2016 16, and so this is my second time being on here. So I know the culture of Harvest Point and the group that they hire. So as we go on to laughter and connection, the first slide talks of, go ahead, Lauren. It comes from a proverb: a cheerful heart is good medicine. And in the winter months, there are increases, rises of anxiety, there are increased rises of depression. And I actually had a patient the other day talk about, oh, it just looks really sad outside. And I had never heard it said like that before. Um, and so one of the things that we can do as we're getting through the winter is laughter. And there's actually a ton of science out on the benefits of laughter. Here are two, the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, and the bottom one is from Mayo Clinic. They show that laughter into daily routines may serve as a valuable component for lifestyle. And from the Mayo Clinic, it can reduce stress by stimulating organs, stimulating your feel-good hormones for your well-being, and just overall like enjoying life. Happy people tend to get less sick. Joyful people, grateful people tend to get less sick, and when they do, they get better. And it's the people who are really struggling with depression and mental illness and just kind of in a rut, they kind of struggle to get out of it. And so laughter is one way to do it. And to share with you a really vulnerable example, it's like, okay, well, how do I do that? And so there's really no recipe. You can do anything. So one thing that my daughter and I did the other night, we were having a FaceTime call, and I said, "Hey, Kenny." She's my absolute favorite. I said, let's have a phone conversation with our tongues out of our mouth the whole time. And so we had a conversation with our tongue out of our mouth, and both of us were just rolling on the floor laughing. Um, and so it can be as simple as that. And in that, I also increase my connection with my daughter. And so the healthiest people on the planet are the ones that are don't just have the most money, but also have the wealthiest connections and community around them. And if you want more of that, you can look into what are called blue zones, and there's a number of them across the planet. So something simple, it doesn't cost any it doesn't cost any money. You can do it on your phone. You can do it with jokes. You can do it with your spouse. You can do it with anybody. You can do it by yourself. Laughter. And so that's the first tip for getting through the winter. So as we move to the next one, stretches. So move it or lose it is a great key to think about. Another phrase that I don't know if I came up with or where I got it from is, um, God gave us two ears and one mouth because we're supposed to listen more than we speak. Well, I tell people God gave us 2 feet, one butt, and we're supposed to move more than we sit. And so stretching is a really great way to keep fluid moving in the body. Another example I like to use is, so a river is meant to flow. And so there's banks on the river, and if the water is moving, right, there's really healthy ecosystem in the water. Well, if something happens and that river gets dammed up, now all of a sudden it can't flow, and you start having stuff grow in it, and you get mosquitoes around it, and it's just not healthy, right? You've seen I'm reminded of back in my grandma's house, go down the hill to her house, there's a big pond on the right, and about midsummertime, it'd be covered with that giant duckweed, the green stuff. And it just wasn't a really healthy place to be. And so our bodies are 60 to 70% water. So moving and keeping moving is often a really great thing um, to do. And once you're in motion, you just stay in motion. So at our website at Core PT Iowa on YouTube I'll go back quick, Lauren, um, are so low back stiffness, neck stiffness, shoulder pain, knee pain, hip pain. These are the most common ailments that we work with people daily on a daily basis. And so each one of these, so let's say you're looking there and you've got some neck stiffness. So I put out there 3 different stretches that are on YouTube. So all these are for free. You don't have to pay for them. They're 2 minutes. None of these require equipment. None of these require a gym membership. So you can leave that up to Angela, who's kicking butt with all those people at the gym. But this is a little guide for you. So let's say you wake up and you notice, man, my back's been getting stiff lately. So as long as you've not had like a massive injury, you've not been in an accident, and you're just stiff, all of these are really safe to do. Now, if you have other things going on, like, oh, I can't feel my legs, or my legs are buckling, or I'm numb and tingling in my pelvis, I can't control my bowels and bladder. Those are signs for you to say, hey, I need to get in and get it seen really fast. But if it's not that, and I just wake up stiff, all of these should be really safe for you to do. And so use this as a guide. And I think Lauren said in the follow-up email, she's going to create a link for each one of these that'll take you directly to it. And so if you have low back stiffness, here's where you go. Here's a roadmap for neck. Here's a roadmap for shoulder. So let's go through a quick demo of what would that actually look like on your end on your computer. So you would go to YouTube and you would search up core physical therapy, core PT, and you find Core PT and you look for that little subscribe button, and this will pop up. This is our YouTube page. And what you'll want to do is click on videos. And then on there are every single video that we've ever recorded. And specifically these ones that have the orange background. Those are the ones, they're 1 minute, 2 minutes of the certain stretches that you might be looking for. And so you can search specifically for scaling there at the top, and then it'll populate in our YouTube channel the scaling stretch. Again, scalings is for your neck if you don't know that yet. But that's how you would do that. It's really quick. It's really simple. Again, it doesn't take a lot of time. Most of them, I think, are 2 minutes or less. And then we'll talk through how do you do it. As you're doing those stretches, a general recommendation that I give people is most people think no pain, no gain, or I got to push it more. That's not true. What I recommend people to do is a 30-second hold is a great place to start. And you're looking for oh, that's tight, but I can breathe. A lot of people will over push to where they're not breathing because they're trying so hard. If when you're doing your stretches, you find yourself holding your breath, you're actually not getting the biggest bang for your buck. So all stretches should be able to be done well while you're breathing regularly. And that can be a great sign of, am I in the sweet spot? You do 30-second holds, maybe relax for 30 seconds, and then you would do a 2 to 3 sets of that. And you would do that twice a day is a great place to start. And where then you would maybe need more one-on-one help would be, hey, I've tried these stretches and they didn't work. So maybe there's something else that we're missing and that would require a bit more looking. And that's where we would come in. So after stretches, here are the other things that we're going to talk about. So strength. Having strong legs is one of the biggest predictors for overall mobility as we get older. And so if you look at your life, I hear a lot of people who say, oh, I'm moving from a 2-story house to a 1-story house because the stairs are getting harder and I want to be able to be more mobile. So that's great and awesome, or I've got the taller toilets. But what that actually does is it actually caters to your weakness versus saying, hey, the stairs are getting hard, I need to get stronger. And so these are some things that you can work on just to get stronger. So for instance, practicing getting up and down off the floor, step ups and step downs. So for the step ups and the step downs, all you would need is the bottom step of a staircase. And you would either face it with one foot on it and just go up and down on one leg 20 times twice a day. Or if that's pretty easy, you do a step down where you would turn and face it, instead of looking at it, you would turn and face the railing, and you would do more of a lateral step down. So you're lifting one leg up and down off the floor. And those are really great to do to start with. Again, 20 reps is your goal, a couple times a day. If with this one you ever have any sharp pain in your knee and your ankle and your hip, we always say, okay, you're not ready for that yet, and that's okay. Up and downs out of a chair. So not like cheerleading, up, down, fight, 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 although go Hawks. So this is like just sitting up and getting down out of a chair. What I notice with a lot of my patients, especially those who get older, is I call them floppers. And what it is they get about half the way down and then there's an uncontrolled fall. And so What that speaks to is just leg weakness, and then that leg weakness makes it more challenging to get up and down off of a toilet, to get up and down off of a chair, to get up and in and out of your car. So what I encourage people to do with that is every chance you get, I'll have you guys all, you don't have to do it now, but after we get off the webinar, see if you can stand in front of a chair and lower yourself, take 5 to 6 seconds to lower yourself all the way down without flopping. And chances are some of you might not be able to do that. So just practice that. So every time you're going to get up and down out of a chair, try to control yourself with your legs only all the way down. And pretty soon you'll notice that it'll get a little bit easier for you. And then things like stairs and things like up and down off the toilet, in and out of cars, maybe even walking longer will get better. So strength in your legs specifically is a really great path to start on for longevity and being able to move well and have really high quality of life for many years to come. So strength is there. The next is balance. So balance is a concern. Fear of falling is a concern. We've heard a number of people, right? I fell, broke my hip, and then it's like life kind of spiraled down. And something very, very simple is, can you stand on one leg for 30 seconds? Actually, can you stand on one leg for 10? And a lot of people have a hard time with that without holding on to something or looking like there's a hurricane in their living room. And there's been research that shows that if you cannot stand on one leg for longer or for 10 seconds or longer, you're at a high risk for falls at some point in your life. And so have fun with this. So when you're brushing your teeth, okay, can I stand on one leg while I'm brushing my teeth or waiting at the microwave or standing in line at the grocery store and make sure you're safe or any place you're standing, can I do it on one leg? And just those little bits and little habits add up, just like investing, right? When you're in your 20s, you save $100 a month. You just keep doing it. And now you're a millionaire when you're in your 60s. Actually, I think that's how that math works. I'm not there yet. But it's these little things that you do every day add up from a mobility standpoint and a health standpoint as well. Overall, your ultimate goal would be able to stand on one leg for up to 30 seconds with crossing your arms on your shoulders without wobbling all over the place. And when you can do that, you should feel really confident no matter where you're at that your risk for falling is low. And this can also then be what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a check engine light. So you know how when your fuel gets low or your tire pressure gets low, right? Your little engine light shows up on your dashboard. Do this as a little check engine light. How am I doing today? Or how am I doing this week? Once you get it up to 30 seconds. And it's really interesting if you do these as kind of a preventative screen, you'll probably notice that, oh my gosh, my single leg balance is starting to get a little worse. I need to practice more. Doesn't necessarily mean there's anything bad or wrong going on. It could just mean you need to do it more and that you're not stimulating that system enough for it to do what it needs to do because it's there for you. So we've talked about strength. We've talked about balance. Again, all of this is stuff you can do in the comfort of your own home. You don't need a gym. You don't need any equipment. And so really simple things you can do and get into the habits of. And the last one is a trusted source. Peter Attia is his name. He's a bald-headed guy. He was a physician and got out of being a physician because he saw people just weren't getting well. And he kind of set his sights on this same kind of topic of longevity and not just can I live to be in my 90, but can I have 88 amazing years in my 90 years on the planet versus I only get 70 amazing years and then the last 20 just kind of stink. And so he has a ton of information out for nutrition. And if I want to be strong when I'm older, what are the things I need to be able to do today? One thing that he talks about, I know our age range, I think is like 50, 60, 70s. He said they did research and found that when people are in their 80s and 90s to do the things like opening up jars and hanging clothes and grabbing stuff down off of cupboards, how strong does my grip need to be? And they did research and showed that men should be able to hold 100% of their body weight in both hands with weights for up to a minute. And women should be able to do it 3/4 of their body weight for up to a minute. So what that would look like is if I weigh 200 pounds, I should be able to hold 100 pounds in one hand and 100 pounds in another hand for a minute now and keep that so that I have the strength for when I'm older. Now, this one requires a little bit of weight, and you might be thinking, oh my God, that's really a lot. It is. However, there's a sharp decline as we get older with muscle mass and muscle size and what it can do. And so it's like as you get older, we used to have a Ferrari, right, with a go super fast and super quick. And now we're kind of driving Toyota Camrys where, okay, they last, but I can't get around very fast and nobody's whistling at me anymore. So Peter Attia is a great website for starting to learn more about what does it even look like to take care of me as I get older, because a lot of us I've heard people say, "Oh, don't get old. Aging sucks." And while yeah, it's not like what we were in our 20s and our 30s, but I do think that there's an invitation for us to decide what do we want to make of it and how do you want to get there. And so taking these steps and really pushing yourself to strength train a little bit more. So once you can get up and down off the floor and do these things, pushing yourself even more. So then it would be meeting people like Angela who are kicking butt or personal trainers, and really challenging yourself and seeing what's possible, because I don't think we've really scratched that yet. So there's a source. I'm a big giant nerd, and so I love to learn about stuff. So if any of you are kindred spirits and like to learn as well, Peter Attia is a great place to Google and go look at some of his information. So as we go to the next slide, so this is kind of my wrap up and encouragement. So remember, new habits take time. Research shows that new habitual ways of thinking take about 63 days to get started. And so that's 9 weeks. You might think, golly, that's a long time. But in the grand scheme of things, 9 weeks to get into a habit that's going to last me the rest of my life, like that seems like a no-brainer. And recognize that with intention follows disruption. So as you start something new, your nervous system is like, what? What are we doing here? And so you're going to fall and fail. So you just get back up. And so it's all about consistency, not perfection, and finding a reward system. So whatever works best for you to reward yourself. So if that's, hey, when I do 1 month of daily movement with only missing 2 days or less, then I'll get a new swimsuit, or then I'll get a new, right, whatever it might be. But find something that matters to you and be willing to invest in yourself with that, because we all kids need it, right? Hey, clean your room, I'll give you a sucker, right? Like as adults, like we need that stuff too to help ourselves stay motivated. Keep it fun. Kids learn so much because they learn it with play versus just sitting and studying. And so having as much fun with you can as you can with whatever it is that you want to do helps your brain kick in and learn better, faster, and it's more enjoyable. So if you don't have to suffer, why suffer? So keep it fun and then ask for help. There's boatloads of resources. I'm happy to be one for you. My contact information, I think, will be provided for you guys. So if you want to reach out for emails, I'm happy to correspond. Just say, hey, saw you blabbing away on the conversation. Do you have any advice for this? And I'll give you some general stuff, but again, I can't give you specifics unless you're in my office. So that way I don't lead you astray. And I certainly wouldn't want to do that. So um, it's, I don't think we scratched the surface with what's possible as a human being yet. And so there's no place to start it better than right now. And so hopefully these things are things that can help you out and make winter a lot more fun than when it usually is. So I'm going to toss it back over to Angela.
All right. Thank you, Justin, so much. And great information. I think it resonated with all of us. I really enjoyed the laughter one of those things. It's laughing and enjoying life and finding the positive things help get through the tough times when it is sad outside or the sun doesn't come out very much in Iowa during the winter times. And great advice on some of those different techniques to help us stay mobile and strength with our balance. We do have a couple of questions that have come in. And if you still have one that's kind of the top of your mind and like to email that to us, it is at send it to info@harvestpointwm.com, and we will get that in the queue here, as well as answering it maybe after the webinar if we don't receive it by the time we're done today. So our first question is for Justin. It is from Lynn from Iowa. She asked, are there general exercises or stretches that anyone can do to keep their back, knees, shoulders, hands, and wrists in shape to avoid any of the tweaks if you move wrong, or repetitive motions that you can do? If there is there a website or a list that you can share about those?
Yeah, so Lynn, I think we crushed that one for you. So as far as backs, knees, shoulders, hands, wrists, if I give anybody one of the litany of videos on there, it would be the upper trunk rotation. And the upper trunk rotation works on the part of your body that's your thorax, so you can't see me, but it's your rib cage, it's your upper back, it's your middle back. That place of any head, neck, and shoulders, low back, hips, pelvis, that's the place where we spend a lot of time working with a lot of people. And so check out the upper trunk rotation video. That will be one that I actually call it a human exercise. So if God wakes you up and you're a human, you got to do it. And it's a great one. It's a humbler because not a lot of us can move it very well. But if you can keep that one area of your body moving really well, that's low-hanging fruit for a lot of other ailments that could be. So to give you a more specific focus, Lynn, I would check out that one.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah.
Our next question is for Collin, and it comes from Abby from Iowa. She asked, should I be budgeting for a potential recession? How can I be prepared in a volatile economic environment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first off, to answer the first part of that question, as a financial planner, I would always encourage budgeting in general. My wife rolls her eyes at me every time I talk about, okay, let's sit down and look at the budget for the past month and see where we could cut back a little bit. Now, not everybody may need to stick true to their budget. Some of our clients are in the stage of life where they've worked so hard and saved so well that they can afford to spend a little bit more. So, we would encourage to do so. But the worst thing you can do during a recession is really try to pull money out of the market if you're going to spend it unnecessarily, because the best thing you can do is just stay in the market during the volatility, during the recession, and allow the assets to grow back as the economy recovers. So, everybody's situation is going to be a little bit different, and everybody's going to have a little bit different response to how they may interpret that. But, consult with us, talk to us, bring it up at your next appointment, see how we can, maybe guide you more in that area.
Great. Thanks, Collin. Some good advice there. All right. Our next question is for Justin. This is Sue from Iowa. She asks, I'm 65 years old. How many steps should I be aiming to get each day?
Yeah, great question, Sue. So there's a lot of general advice flying around. One that can be, I think, pretty trusted. I think it's the American College of Sports Medicine. I forget who the government body is, but they say, or maybe it's from the Surgeon General, they say looking not necessarily for steps, but the amount of activity that you have every week. And they talk about 150 minutes per week of moderately intense exercise. And so moderately intense looks like, on a scale of 0 to 10, 0, this is intensity wise. So 0 would be I'm laying on my bed just like I woke up in the morning, and 10 would be the zombie apocalypse is coming, and I need to be faster than the next person. So I'm running and doing everything I can. I can't work any harder. So a moderately intense activity would be like a 6 or a 7. So as you're exercising, you say, okay, on a 0 to 10 scale, how hard am I working? 6, 7. I feel like a 9. Oh, that's a little bit too hard. Or I feel like only a 4. All right, I got better kick it up. So a recommendation that I would give you is, again, assuming that you don't have any underlying heart issues or lung issues, right? That needs to be checked out first. But a good average is working up to 150 minutes a week. You can also shoot for 2 to 3, maybe 4 miles a day, so 6,000 to 8,000 steps. There's a general recommendation of 10,000 steps a day. I don't know how if that is specific enough to what you're asking. But generally speaking, if you just shoot for a little bit more. So if you're not doing any, shoot for, okay, I'm going to find 1,000 steps a day. And most cell phones now have the pedometers in them where it can track what you're doing and give you kind of a recommendation. But work up to 6 to 8,000 steps is a good place to be. And it also kind of depends on what you're wanting. Are you wanting just to stay well? Are you wanting to see what's possible and try to improve and build for the future? Then that's going to be a different answer as well. But generally, again, 150 minutes a week of moderately intense aerobic exercise or 2 to 4 miles a day. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, great information, Justin. I think you would agree too is consistency, right? So movement every day, if it is 1,000 steps or 10,000, as long as they're getting movement every day, that's important.
Yeah, and getting started is often the hardest part. I went through a phase of life where I wasn't doing anything, and I thought, God, I got to get started. So literally all I did was, okay, today I'm going to do one push up, one sit up, and one air squat. And I did that. It's like, sweet, I did it. And then the next day I did 2 of each. And then I worked up to 30, and pretty soon I was just banging them out. And it was just consistency. And so I had to kind of humble myself to say, okay, if this is all I can do to get started, like just getting started, same with investing, just get started, and the benefits start to motivate yourself as well.
Yep, exactly. Awesome. All right, we have one more question here. This one's for Collin, and this comes from John from Missouri. He asked, does the S&P 500 change holdings frequently?
Yeah, that's a great question. So many of you hear the term S&P 500 and maybe don't understand what it means, or you hear it and you kind of know it's the general indicator of how the market is performing. So what the S&P 500 is it's a total stock market index made up of the 500 largest U.S. publicly traded companies. So that's the 500 largest companies. You'll recognize many of them like Meta, Apple, Google, and the list goes on and on for about 497 others. But regularly, as the market changes, as businesses continue to grow and get more capital in, as long as they're in the top 500 of those companies, they're going to be added to the index, and therefore somebody's going to be taken away. So for example, last year in 2024, there was 16 different companies added to the S&P 500. Some of those have been on the S&P 500 before, like Dell. Others you might recognize like Workday or CrowdStrike. So it's truly a general overall indication of how the economy is doing based off the 500 largest companies. And even fun fact, the S&P 500, I believe, was founded, I'm going to double check myself here. Yep, in 1923. And the 500 out of the 500 original companies that made up the S&P 500 index, 53 of them are actually still in the index today and have stayed in the index over that almost over now 100 years. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Collin, for that insight there. All right, well, that concludes our question and answer segment here. We will have a survey at the end of our webinar today that we would really appreciate you to fill out and give us some feedback, as well as express any other topics of interest that you'd like to have us post for webinars. It's a good way for us to give information that's top of mind or that's going on now in the world that is concerning to you. So we look forward to receiving those surveys. We do definitely want to let you know that we will be sending out the links to Justin's video so you can get an idea on those stretches and things that he talked about during his presentation. But we do let you know that it is a privilege to serve you, and we are grateful we get that opportunity to be on this webinar with you today. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day.